your score. I can't imagine any national agency being that hard. Or what about Iceland? Are you extremely strict when it comes to this? Yeah, okay, there's no mercy on the Icelandic jury over there. Yeah. As a plea from a national agency staff, do you please make sure you choose correctly here. Okay, and then yeah, there's a question in the back. The microphone is nowhere to be seen. I have two questions. The Stefania is on the microphone. Yeah.
Hello, just a question. If your school is both kindergarten, primary and secondary, is it possible to do different level of projects? We also have a vocational branch, and I'm working in the European branch. So we have very different profiles, student profiles. How does the form enable us to perhaps do a multi-level accreditation?
Well, what you said about your school having a vocational branch and school branch, that would require two different accreditation applications if you want to send vocational students and pupils. So that would be, you would need to submit two different application forms because of technical reasons. If you feel that you belong to several of these categories, unfortunately you can only choose one, so I will ask you to choose whichever fits the most. Yeah, okay. Can't hear you.
But in that case, we would limit it to secondary, as we have a small team. There's 3 of us who all have separate current projects. So the idea is to get accredited and then continue with those through funding.
Yeah.
So there's not a possibility of also involving primary colleagues.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, I'm just saying you would have to choose here when you're choosing your type of organization. You would have to choose whichever suits you the most purely for technical reasons, because you can add a number of them. But in your application form, you can include the entire school, just not the vocational branch.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that was clear, because that needs to be clear. Okay, 3 more questions, one here, one there, and one here.
Is it same deadline?
Same deadline for all.
Date.
Same deadline for all.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the name?
Same question as in the back, okay.
And what I expect was, is we're going to apply for a consortium.
Yeah.
And we have a college, and our college we have primary schools, secondary schools, post-secondary schools, so on and so forth. So we have to do 2 applications so that we will be able to
No,
just choose one of those.
you could choose one. Yeah.
And then we can still insert, for example, if we choose primary, because we have more primary schools than secondary schools,
Yeah.
we can still include primary.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think in that case, thank you. The advice I was given by our NA when I asked that particular kind of question, because of course we have similar scenarios, was to go for regional body.
Yeah.
One of the options over there is regional body.
Yeah, I only displayed a couple, and if you, for example, in Norway it's very common that school owners, and they are owned either locally by a municipality or regionally by the county, then they would, and they would be the consortium coordinator, they would choose local public body or regional public body. So, yeah, consult this list.
Yeah, just in addition to this question, there's usually at the national agency level always a list published of which type of organizations are recognized within which type that you can apply for school education or vocational education and training. Because the reality is that many schools offer both. So if you are in doubt, there's always published lists, and you can always ask your national agency, like in my case, what do I apply best for? It's important that you know that it's all online and to be found and asked. Yeah.
Again, ask for help and ask for. Can I because I'm looking a little bit at my watch, maybe we can, okay, we'll take that question, then I'll carry on, and then we'll take some more questions at the end.
In regards to the legal representative, is that the headmaster or in Sweden it's like the utbildningschef or the headmaster? What do we choose there?
It can be anyone who's legally able to enter into a legally binding contract on behalf of your school. So it differs from country to country. In Sweden, I would either would be fine, I think.
Thank you.
Okay. Returning to the application form, we now come to these boxes where you're able to actually type something. And so you're asked to present your organization. We spoke about this yesterday. But you see these little. Okay, I'll try to zoom. You can see the number of characters that you are allowed to use answering this particular question. So if I start typing here, well, it will start counting down. So you can always keep track on how many characters you have left. But again, you should be writing this somewhere else and not directly into the form. But it will say stop if you try to add more than your allotted number of characters. Okay. It continues like this. You need to enter the number of learners, number of staff. These are mandatory. They have the red stars. It continues like this. What are the most important needs and challenges your organization is currently facing? Red star. So pay attention. This is very important because this is what your objectives should be reflecting. They've given you 4,000 characters to describe it. So that says something about perhaps the importance. Based on your OID, based on the organization ID number that you entered, your past participation will automatically appear. So if you've been taking part in Erasmus, this program or the previous program, you will see lists of all the projects, or actually you will see a table of your previous participation. What action type, how many times you applied, and how many times you were granted as an applicant and as a partner. And you are asked to comment on this. Would you like to make any comments or add any information to the summary of your organization's past participation? Not a mandatory question. And here, we spoke yesterday about the strategic documents. That could be the school 5-year plan or the national curricula or whatever it may be. This is where you can attach them. Oops. There we are. So actually, you click on annexes and you're taken to the part that's called annexes, and under other documents, feel free to add it by clicking on the plus sign. Okay. And then we have the objectives, and every application must have at least one. So this is objective 1. You should give it a title. You should explain a little bit. You should discuss timing. This is what you've been spending most of this morning and thinking about at least a little bit. Timing, when do you expect to see the results for this objective? How are you going to track and evaluate your progress on this objective? And once you've done that, you may want to add another objective, and it's very easy. You click on the plus sign and you get another objective. The list grows longer. And if you at some point decide that no, I don't want this objective anymore, or yeah, I already have 8, I want to remove objective number 5 because it's kind of similar to objective number 3, I'd rather incorporate it there. Feel free to remove it by just clicking on the X sign. And then you are asked to indicate how many mobilities you're gonna ask for each year. And I need to stress this. This is not a binding thing, not at all. It's just to give an idea of the magnitude of the program, of what you're thinking about. So the first year, I expect to send up 20 learners and 5 staff, for example. But in the second year, we've gained some experience. We expect to increase this to this number. This may be, for you, maybe this is a tiny project and it needs to be bigger, but you know what you have in mind. You can add years all the way until the program ends, the 5 years. You don't have to, it's optional, you can do it. As I said, it is in no way binding. What is binding is what you ask for in February, so once you're accredited.
Question?
Yes?
If I make an Erasmus plan for 3 years, do I have to fill in 3 years here?
No.
Okay.
You said it was that you could add years, but you don't have to. But do you need to put 2 years?
Yes. 2 years I manage. And you were asked to tell us a little bit of why you made that estimation, how you came to those numbers, and if you're imagining progression, how you think that will look. Annigo?
Just to the activities, the estimation. One common mistake is that you fill in accompanying persons. If you have group mobility, you will send teachers with them. But that's not staff. But staff mobility is job shadowing, courses, and so on. So it could be a mistake because you have no objectives corresponding with job shadowing, for example, and staff mobility, and some put the accompanying persons in that part. But the accompanying persons is not a mobility, so they will be kept out. So pupil mobility. Is students' staff mobility is the actual staff going on mobility on their own.
Yeah. So for example, let's say that you were picturing sending 20 pupils together with, because they can't be traveling alone, 2 teachers. It should not say 20 and 2, it should be saying 22 over here.
Ah.
Because these teachers over here, they are the ones who are going to go by themselves on a job shadowing or attending a course. Okay. The next is easy. These are the Erasmus quality standards. We've touched upon them yesterday. These are statements that you, by choosing to participate and by submitting the application, you say that these are principles that we will comply with. So you need to read these and make sure that you know what you're signing. It has to do with organizing safe mobilities. It has to do with not being an inclusive organization, not excluding anyone, etc., etc. So this, you need to read those, and then you need to check this list and acknowledge that you've read and understood them, and that they will be part of the criteria for evaluating your performance later on in the process. Not evaluating the application, but evaluating your performance at a later stage. And we've reached the final part of the application, which requires writing. It has to do with management, and you need to be writing a little something, 1,000 characters or so, what your organization will do to contribute to the basic principle of Erasmus accreditation, the quality standards. So include how you plan to do with inclusion, environmental sustainability and responsibility, digital education, active participation in the network of Erasmus organizations. We spoke about this yesterday. And how you plan to ensure, how you plan to go about in managing the project internally in your organization, and how you intend to support your participants, and how you intend to go about in sharing the results and knowledge about the program. So all in all, you can write quite a lot. So, but remember what I said yesterday, write as much as you feel that you need to answer the questions. Don't fill it up just for the sake of it. And before submission, there's one mandatory annex that every application needs to attach, and it's a declaration on honor. This is where your legal representative signs the document. What document, you may ask, or I hear you asking? Well, this document right here. You press this button and it downloads a declaration on honor, pre-filled with the name of the legal representative and the name of the school and the project, etc. So all the principal has to do is actually sign her name at the bottom of the page. And yeah, as I said, you can attach any documents that you feel is necessary to make the application stronger. What that box should not be used as is that if you, for example, if you've written your 1,000 characters on inclusion and you're only halfway there, you feel like you have much more to say on the topic, so you add a little Word document with the 4 more pages, and you include that there. That's not what it's supposed to be used as. We will not be happy if we see that. There are character limitations for a reason, so you need to stick to those. Okay, almost there, almost lunch. Checklist. You need to say that you, as an organization, fulfill the eligibility criteria, or that the application fulfills the eligibility criteria. Everyone does. That you filled out all the fields in the application form. You've chosen the correct field for your organization, and currently we've selected school education. There's always instances of someone who's chosen the wrong sector, so pay attention that you open the right application form, and that you've chosen the right national agency. So tick those boxes, and the paper airplane button will become activated, and you can submit. What about this? What about sharing? I hear you ask. Can we be several colleagues working on this together? The answer to that question is, it's complicated. Yes, in theory you can, in practice you can, but it is in fact actually quite complicated. Unless they've made some some terrific improvements since this spring, the whole process would look something like this. I would click this button, share with a new person. I would enter their name and their email address. That person would then log into their computer, and they will into the form, and then they would have to ask, can you hand over the editing rights? Sure. So then a message goes to the first person who will say, yes, you can. And then they can start editing. But then they lost the ability to edit until they give it back. So again, you may want to be working in Word and where it's easier to co-write, and then one person will get the responsibility to upload this into this application form. It's 2022, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping that they can find a better solution for this at some point. As of now, this is where we are. Yes, I think it's time for lunch, but we will take the time to answer any questions that are left hanging. And since this this part of the program came slightly earlier than anticipated. We can also, I'm sure, find the time to come back and answer any questions this afternoon, should more questions arise. But yes.
While writing the objectives, am I supposed to write all we did on these sheets in sentences, or this information, or I just can put
Bullet points.
shortly?
Or if you can put bullet points, is that what you're asking? Or we would prefer if you write it in full sentences.
So
It's
if
part
I
of,
write one,
it's not part of, it's part of what I was discussing yesterday, not leaving anything implicit or leaving anything outside of the application that should be in there.
so I just form these lines into the sentences, beautiful sentences.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
and a coherent narrative preferably.
Catchy.
Catchy and, you know,
It can be full as.
and short.
Not
sweet.
copy paste.
So then you don't like bullet points?
I'm not saying no to bullet points on a general basis. Use them if you must, but and if you ask colleagues, they may have a different answer. But I think I prefer it to be written in full sentences in text. Partly also because when an expert picks this up, it comes out in a PDF form, and whatever formatting you thought you entered into the application form is not the one we're seeing. There's a question, no, there's a comment.
Yeah, also to add on to what you just said about the bullet points and the experts, bear in mind everything you fill out in this application form will be read and evaluated by an external expert. So they will have to understand what you mean, and we're going to look into this in the afternoon as well, like what an expert expects of you. But just bullet points, in my opinion, are not too clear then.
Could we agree on? Lunch?
Yes.
And we want you back here at 2 o'clock. So it's a long lunch. You have plenty of time. 2 o'clock.